Hi and welcome to Pygame animation tutorial developed in Python. Now let me show you guys how this works. Right up here you guys can see there's a bird there chasing this insect, or maybe creepy crawlies or whatever you want to call them, and you can see the background as well. So to get this insect moving, all you need to do is just hold on to your left or your right key. So now I'm using my right key, moving right, and you can see the bird chasing the insect, and the insect are actually trying to escape from the bird. That is just what this tutorial is all about. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you guys into Python development environment, and we'll put one of these together, including the background. So let's do that now, guys. Okay, to start with, let's exit out. So I'm gonna just close that, and there I have a new development environment. So the first thing I'm going to do is to import my Pygame. There we go. So I'm just going to increase the font size so that you guys can see what I'm up to. Let's make that about 14 for now. There we go. Now underneath there I'm going to get my Pygame initialized. Pygame, you have to get it initialized dot init. There we go. There. And the other thing I would like to do is I want to set up my own interface the way I want it. I want right here, I want my own personal logo, and up here I'm going to enter a title right up here, something like worm crawling or crawling worms, something like that. And to take care of that, I'm going to just enter, let's enter a variable there. I'm going to call that space, and my space I'm going to say equals space, just like the name is. You see in there, there's nothing right there. So the next thing is I'm going to define the name of my screen, and the name of my screen is going to be just my screen. That's fine. So now let's say equals my screen equals Pygame. Now I want to attach my or define my geometry. So Pygame dot display dot set underscore mode, and that is now I'm just going to enter the size. So I'm going to make that 1380 by 800. That is the width, the height, and the width. Now the next thing I want to do is let's assign my title. So for my title, I'm just going to call that, let's say Pygame dot display dot set underscore caption. That is how it's used in Pygame underscore caption. And right there you see, take note of this variable that I declare. I'm now going to use that variable here. So I'm going to enter the space between here and here. I'm going to make that 220. So I'm going to multiply that by space. If you multiply that by space, that will be nothing anyway, so we end up with 220 plus. So I will now specify the name or my title, what my title will be. So I can just call that maybe crawling worms or worm crawl, whatever. Let's say crawling worms. There. Now let's come down here. The next thing I want to do is to call it my icon, but let me show you guys the images I intend to use. And right here are the images I intend to use. That's my icon, and those are the birds, and these are flying facing the right hand side, while these ones are facing the left hand side. This is my background, and those are the worms. Some are facing the right hand side. You can see them RR1 to RR5 and LL1 to LL5. Those are the images I intend to use, but I will have to save. I'm going to save my project right inside this bed flies directory, so minimize that. Alright, that takes care of that. Well, one thing is, let's call the name of my logo. That is it. Okay, minimize that again, and let's come right down here. Now I'll just enter a variable here, call that my icon equals Pygame dot image dot load, and that is going to be known as captain's icon dot png. So if you notice, the file extension for this doesn't have icon, it's just .png. Okay, now the next thing we want to do is we now want to display that very icon. So I'm going to say Pygame, I want you to display it on my bin project. So let's say pygame.display.set underscore icon. And what icon are you setting? And there we go, that's the icon we're setting. Copy and just paste that right there. So that's my icon on the project. And let's set my background there. So I'm going to copy this. Let's paste it right down here. I'll change the name of that to set bg as the background. And the name for my background is called farm. There. So I've just called my background. I'm also going to call the very first image. I'm going to use that for the bed, and I'll use that for the worm. So let's call this worm. Yeah, let's just say worm img, worm image, and this one will be the bird image. There we go. The bed image, let's enter the name of the very image that I want on my system there. So it's going to be bed 1, and for the worm will be, let's use the one facing right RR1. So those are the two images I intend to use for the character, the bed and the worm there. And before I can proceed any further, I'd like to call this bed and the images, and the bed image and the worm image. Okay, those ones I like to call them. So right underneath here, first of all, let's go for the bird. So I'm going to call that right bed right equals as follows. So let's open up an array. Okay, and right inside this array, I'm going to call each of the images I intend to use. Since my images are they're all separate images, so I'm just going to call them individually, because I don't have what is known as a sprite sheet. So let's grab that of the bed, number 1. So I'm going to grab that of the bird, that's it right there, grab that, paste. There we go. That is for the right bed, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, that's for the right flying bed. I only have 3 of those. I only have 3 flying left as well, so we're going to have to improvise. That's for the very first one. So I'm going to put a comma here and paste again for it to call the second bed, that is bed number 2, comma, paste, bed number 3 called. You see, by the time the player head get to bed 1, 2, 3, that is the end of the images. So we can always look back for it to start all over. So I'm going to make that about maybe 10 images. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of this. Let's copy everything. Let's put a comma here and just come right down here, paste. Now I have 6. Paste again. I have 9. Okay. Now, okay, I'm going to make it, let's make it 10. Yeah, I'm going to make it 10. If it doesn't go the way I want, I'll just change that. So let's put another comma here and there. So if you look at it, flies up to 3, continue from 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Good. So let's repeat the same thing for the left side. This is for the bird flying towards the right hand side. Now this will be for the bird flying left. So let's change this to left. There. And let's see the images. The left images is just, I end up with left there. L bird, and the number. So let's change that as well. So I'm just going to add L there, uppercase L for each of these. There we go. And that will officially take care of the images. There we go. Left side images taken care of. So I need another one for the worm. So I'm going to copy all of these. Come right down here. So I have the worm facing left and right as well. So let's see the names of the worm. So for the first one, I'm going to call that the right hand side. I'm just going to call that crawl, yeah, something like that. Let's just say crawl. Let's use the lowercase. Crawl right and crawl left. Now I'm now going to change the names of each object. Now let's see the names. You can see for the left is LL2 and so on, but in this case I have up to 5 and up to 5. Okay, so let's change that to, let's press F2, just copy that and just change the numbers around. So this will be LL1, LL2 and so on. LL3. Since we have up to 5, this will be 4. Okay, I'm going to speed that up and get back to you guys. Okay, I'm going to have to define some variable of the positions where all this will have to be. So let's say for the x-axis, the bird will be, I'm going to kind of like position is 0, and the y-axis I'm going to make position that at 0 as well. There. Let's make them both a lowercase. Right. Okay, that's for the bird. And the next one, I'm going to define another one. I'm going to call it x1, x2, or y1. I mean x1, y1. So x1, y1, and the position for that, let's go for about 70 x-axis, and the y-axis I'm going to make that about 500. There. Now one other thing is, let's say the velocity, the rate at which this thing is going to be running. Let's say velocity, I'm going to make that 5. Now let me set my timer. So let's say clock equals Pygame dot time dot clock. There we go. That is set. Now one other variable that or two other variables, let me say run left. I'm going to say that is false for now, and run right to be false as well. Run right equals false. and that is for the worm and for the bed as well. So the other thing is, let's have another variable right here. I'm just going to call that motion counter. That is kind of like counting the rate at which each of the characters are going. There we go. Now that that is done, and I want to create, let's define a function here. This very function, I'm going to call it crawler string. And for crawler string, how do we want it to go? First thing first, I'm going to declare a global variable, and this very global variable is right here. So I'm going to copy that very variable, put it here. Okay, and because it's a global variable that is right here, I have to specify into this method or function that it is a global variable. So let's enter global there. There we go. That's my global variable code. Now the next thing we want to do is to actually draw the interface or draw the image. So, and that is the name, my display. So I'm going to copy that. My display will be right inside the function. So come right down here, my display dot bleed. If you guys want to know more about bleed, there's a lot of tutorial on it, how the bleed will allow you to draw an image using Pygame. So I'm going to say my display dot bleed, draw the following image, and this image that I want you to draw is right here. That is it. It's called, my background image is called set bg. I'm going to copy set bg, just paste it here. Set bg is going to be in the following coordinates. So 0 by 0, and that 0 by 0 means it's going to start from somewhere here. Okay, right there. So let's enter 0 here. There we go. That's done. So now let's use an if statement. I'm going to say if, that is motion counter, if my motion counter has counted, or let's say +1, if it's less than, I'm going to make that, let's say 30. Yeah, I'm making it 30 because I have 10 images in total. So if you look at here, we have 3, 3, 9, 10, and the same thing applies to that. So if we divide it by 3, that will give us 10, 10. So all right, that is fine. So we can then say motion counter, if motion counter +1 is less than and equals to 30, then motion counter equals 0. In that case, I'm going to say if left, run left, then I want the display to add as follows. Copy that, my display, that is going to be equals, let's say crawl left. Did I call it crawl left? Okay, we can go for crawl right or crawl left, one of the above. Or let me get the bird first. Okay, let's get this. Crawl left, paste that in there, and that will be enter motion counter in here, and let's get that divided by 3 and comma, that will be the x and y axis, x comma y axis. Okay, now I just specify x and y axis, but let's see, is it for this? This is going to be for the bird, and this will be for the crawlers. Okay, so I'm going to make that 1 and 1. Okay, and I then have to increment this. Grab that, come right down here, say plus equals 1. There. That's the very first one taken care of. But if it is right, so I'm going to grab this. I want you to repeat exactly the same thing for the right. If right, I'm going to grab all of these and just change the data around. So come right here, this will be for right, curl right, where is it? There we go. Come right down here and paste that right here. And nothing changes, but it's 10, so divide that, whatever that is left over, and what will be left over in there will be 1 anyway, so it will loop to the next image. So that is fine. Else we want this following, so the name of my, that will be this, the name of my screen, my display equals, so that would be my display dot bleep, oh, there should be a dot there, and that will be, what is the name of, there we go. I want the one image. Come right down here and just paste that right here, comma, all of this. So that takes care of the very first one there. And let's just finalize that by saying motion counter, that will be equals 0. So the other thing that we then need to do is, let's come down here and just say Pygame, and I want you Pygame dot display, we want that to get updated, dot update. There we go. All right, and for us to be able to use the keyboard to control the movement, we now need to use, let's use a do while loop. So let's say while the use of the keyboard is true, let's say for event in Pygame dot event, let's say get. Now get as follows. So let's say if event dot type, if that is equals to Pygame dot quit, then Pygame quit. Okay, so let's just say Pygame quit underneath here, paste, and I'm just going to enter quit there. There we go, and Pygame quit, so that the dialog will appear and you just quit. Come right down here, paste. Now in that case, the keyboard, if there's no quit, the keyboard equals Pygame, let's say keys, that's another local variable, keys dot key dot get, I'm going to call that underscore pressed. Okay, that's a function within Pygame itself, whatever key you press. So let's say if the key that was pressed, okay, we have here my local variable is called keys, so if that is keys, in that case Pygame dot, if it's key that is pressed is the left key, close that. I'm going to use or because we can also use A or D. So or the keys that is pressed, let's say the code is, or the code is A, there, yeah, it's closed. No, this one should be a bracket, yeah. And I'm going to now say the velocity, and x is less than the velocity. That should actually be x1 because I'm dealing with it. Okay, yeah, x is less than the velocity. Okay, that's going to be for, no, that's for the x1 here. All right, so come right down here. So I'm going to say x1 equals, I'm going to say minus equals the velocity. In the first place, what's the velocity, and uppercase or lowercase? Let's see. Okay, it's lowercase. Copy that, come right down here and just paste that here. There. So which means in that case my variable run left and run right, one of them will be false and the other one will be true. So let's come right down here because we're dealing with left will be true. So let's change this to true, and right, that is there. Okay, so I'm just going to copy exactly the same thing and repeat that for right. Paste and come right down here. Let's change all of these to right. So right becomes true. Cut that off. And left becomes false. And we then change this to right. Okay, in that case, instead of A, that become, if you press letter D, and that is going to be less than the velocity, and in this case is the string size is 1380 minus whatever the velocity is and minus the width. There. Close that. There we go. Oh, we need to close this as well though, because it's open here, it should be closed there. Else the motion will just be 0. So this one is actually else if. So come right down here and just say else, I think I call that motion counter equals 0. Copy that, come right down here and just paste that. Equals, or this one is meant to be indented, equals 0. There. And that's all there is to that. That's all there is to it. So I'm just gonna copy this, just round up my function underneath here. There. And one other thing, let's say clock itself is going to be 30 frames per second. There we go. And we can then just say Pygame dot display dot want you to flip, just like make it loop, and right down here say Pygame dot exit or Pygame dot quit and there. So before I go any further, before we run it, I'm going to save this. So right in here, I'm just going to call it Py underscore animation or animate. Yeah, that's fine. Save. Okay, let's try this out, but before then I'm thinking maybe I should just make this 0 0, take off the 1 and use it for the 0 0 x 0 y 0 x 0 y 0. Okay, let's do that here as well. Come up here, yep, and right underneath here I'm going to declare more variables that I intend to use. So come right there, take it up. Alright, from the top, let's bring it down. And I'm just going to run it. Let's see how it's going to look like there. We'll take it from there. Right, let's run. Save and run. Let's see. Okay. No, oh no, look at where my image is. I don't want that. Oh, that's wrong. No, left and right. Let's see. Where are the images? Let's see. Oh dear, that's for left and this is for right. Come on, man. Let's change that. Cut that off, paste that here and grab this. There. That's correct. So let's run it and see again. Run. There. Okay, that's good. Look at it. But I want it down here though. Alright, that's fine. So the animation is working how I want. So close that. I want this down here. So close that. So the 0 0 that I change it to, let's come down here. The 0 0. Let's make it about 70 and 500. No, 0, then 500 here. Let's see how that's going to look. Run. Let's see now. There we go. Look at it. It's now down where I want it to be. Okay, now run. There we go. That's brilliant. Look at that. You see? So press the left one, the right one. So okay, that is fine. So what I'm going to now do is I'm just going to copy the codes here around so that we can get the beds in, maybe add one or two more of those swarms. So right here I'm just going to copy this, left one, copy, paste it underneath here, paste, and paste another one. One more. Let's copy here, paste there. Now I'm going to change this to this following variable here, 70 and 500. So that would be x1, y1, x2, y2. Now let's get the bird on board as well. For the bird, we make that one x3, y3. There. Okay, so we need to do the same thing for this one. Copy all of these and just paste it right here. So this is right, so we change all of this to right. There. And here as well. Okay. And right underneath here, we need to now specify all of the images as well. Else. So this one is going to be bird. That's a bird. And this will be 3. X, no, I have a 3 and 3. This is 2, 2 1 1. Okay, that's it. So now let's come in here. Now I need this because I want the beds as well. I want the bed as well, so the bed is 3. That's 2. That's 1. That is a 1 as well. So the same thing here. Copy that and just paste 1 2 3. So this is 1 1 2 and 3. Right. So what else? Okay, so let's go up here. There's something I have to, yeah, okay, you see here, that should be a bird. But first thing first, let's see the names. Right. Okay, that's it, bird. Come right down here and just change it. That's a bird there. There. And this will be bird as well. Okay, so that is just the little things we need to take care of. Okay, let's try it out and just see how that's gonna look like for now. Let's see. Oh, we have an error. So come down here. Y3 is not defined. Close that. Let's go right up here. Oh dear, look at that. Oh dear. Change that to 3. And I think hopefully that'll be all. Come down and down. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to try it out one more time. Okay, run. And let's see. I may have an, okay, there we go. We have all of my worms and the bird. Look at the bird right there. Now press the right arrow. Oh, we have another arrow. Let's see. Okay, out of range here. Okay then. Come right down here. I know what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna make divided by 6. Let's divide this by 6 as well, so we'll have enough. Right, run. So take a good look at that, guys. I think it's going to work fine now. Take a good look at the lines of codes. And there we go. There. So I'm going to run it now. And I think that will be all. Run. And there we go again. There we go. Look at that. And that is how you create your own animation using Pygame. Look at that. The bird is chasing the worm while the worm is trying to get away from the birds. That is a very brilliant animation. I like it. There we go. Look at that. Yeah. So with that, guys, I'm gonna have to call it the end of this tutorial, but let me just show you guys the whole lines of code one more time. Take it from the top, and this is where I added all my images. Because I don't have a sprite sheet, that's why I decided to do it this way. For my next tutorial, hopefully I should be able to get a sprite sheet. So take it down. And one more time. Yeah, again. And there. That's it. Run. There we go, guys. So with that, I'm going to call it the end of this tutorial. I suppose you guys enjoyed. Please do subscribe to my channel, and you can also join to become a member of the channel. A lot of benefit for you guys if you join as a member of the channel. So you all have a nice day now. And for your information, if you want this very background, I already have a tutorial on it on YouTube. So bye for now.